Hey Bougie click. Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B have been the face of empowerment, but their personal lives tell a different story. Join us as we unravel the clash between the glamorous fantasy and the sobering reality of the hot girl lifestyle. We'll explore how cultural narratives shape expectations and what happens when the promises of sexual liberation don't quite add up. If you're ready to dig deeper and challenge the status quo, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button, and let's get into it.
I'ma make you a fan.
The hot girl illusion, unraveling the clash of desire and reality. They're the queens of WAP, the champions of hot girl summer, the poster children for sexual liberation, yet both Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B have become cautionary tales in the romance department. While millions of women memorize their lyrics about sexual prowess and financial independence, these same icons cycle through messy, public relationship failures that expose the gap between the fantasy they're selling and the reality they're living. The irony isn't lost on the observant. The women teaching you to be a savage can't seem to secure the basics of a stable partnership. Women put Meg and Cardi on pedestals as proof that the hot girl lifestyle leads to winning. But what are we actually witnessing? Cardi's marriage to Offset is a public dumpster fire of cheating scandals and divorce papers. Meg's dating history reads like a cautionary tale. These women have millions, Grammy Awards, and still can't secure a man who won't embarrass them on social media. The math isn't matching, sis. Megan Thee Stallion's Lover Girl was marketed as a soft, romantic pivot, but the music video tells a different story. It's still drenched in hypersexuality, lingerie, twerking, and thirst trap choreography. The lyrics whisper about love, but the visuals scream same savage energy. Women are mad, not because Meg wants love, but because they finally realize the lifestyle she's been selling doesn't lead to it. When hoe anthems stop being fun, how hypersexualized rap is hurting women. You grew up thinking the boss bitch was a solution. You watched videos where a woman's value was measured in likes, curves, and how good she could twerk on a man who barely remembered her name the next morning. Female rappers told a story that sounded like liberation: own your sexual power, cash in on it, and don't apologize. But that story has a nasty footnote no one advertised. It's a short-term power move that too often produces long-term emotional, financial, and relational fallout for the very women cheering it on. Let's be real. Songs and videos celebrating the whole life, quick hookups, public sexuality, and moving fast from one man to the next sell because they are sexy and cathartic. But when that language is normalized as a model for women's lives, it shapes expectations. It changes how women view self-worth, how men treat women, and ultimately, how relationships work in real life. When public figures like Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B, artists who made the bad girl persona profitable and mainstream, show repeated romantic failures or messy relationships in the headlines, it doesn't land in a vacuum. It becomes evidence, in the court of public opinion, that the lifestyle those artists valorize doesn't produce lasting love, stability, or emotional safety for most women. Not everyone on OnlyFans is buying the dream. If the sex sells economy was the path to financial independence for women, OnlyFans would be proof. The platform exploded during the pandemic and created overnight millionaires, but that's the exception, not the rule. The reality, income on these platforms is sharply skewed. Most creators make very little, a tiny minority take the lion's share. Average creator incomes are low. Many reports put median or typical earnings in the low hundreds per month, while top creators earn astronomical sums. A recent cross-section of OnlyFans data shows average creators often make under $200 per month, while the top 0.1% capture a huge portion of total revenue. That means the narrative "sell your sexuality and retire" is accurate for a sliver, but dangerously misleading for the vast majority. The money stories you see in headlines are the outliers, not the norm. When young women see a narrative that equates sexual openness with quick wealth, many assume sexual content is a viable long-term strategy. When reality bites, taxes, platform fees, inconsistent pay, and the emotional labor of performing private life publicly, those women are left with fewer economic options than they expected and a public persona that can be sticky and stigmatizing. The OnlyFans illusion. Let's talk numbers because the fantasy extends beyond celebrities. OnlyFans creators? The average monthly income is $180. That's $2,160 a year, below the poverty line. While the top 1% makes over $50,000 monthly, 80% of all earnings go to just 20% of creators. Most women on the platform are making less than minimum wage while exposing themselves to the world. The average OnlyFans creator earns just $180 per month, with the platform taking a 20% cut. That's not boss chick money, it's barely gas and groceries. The top 1% make bank, but the rest? Not so much. 90% of exotic dancers report experiencing violence or harassment at work. A 2023 study published in The Lancet Psychiatry found that sex workers are 5x more likely to suffer from depression and 3x more likely to experience PTSD than the general population. Studies also show sex workers face divorce rates 40% higher than the general population. The emotional toll of commodifying intimacy is real. Strippers and escorts face financial instability. Most earn below the national median income, and their work is often inconsistent, stigmatized, and dangerous. Strippers and cam girls also report high levels of loneliness, substance abuse, and burnout. The emotional labor of selling intimacy without connection is draining, and it doesn't come with a 401k. So no, sis. Most of these women aren't living their best lives. They're surviving, not thriving. The glamorized whole life is a mental health and body image risk. Research shows that sexualized images, especially when they're publicly rewarded with likes and comments, reinforce narrow standards of desirability and can harm mood and body image. Women and girls who are repeatedly exposed to sexualized, idealized images report worse body satisfaction and mood than those who are not. That matters. Lower self-esteem and body image problems are linked to riskier relationship choices, vulnerability to exploitation, and greater tolerance for disrespect. The harm, elevated risk of violence, mental health burdens, and stigma. Research shows sex workers and women selling sexual content face significantly higher rates of intimate partner violence and sexual violence. Intimate partner violence and related trauma correlate strongly with anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress. Stigma compounds the problem, blocking access to stable care, legal protection, and social support. Those are not gossip magazine quotes. They are real public health findings. The pipeline from sexualization to stability is not guaranteed. Sex work does not insulate women from being cheated on, abandoned, or abused. Often it increases exposure to predatory behavior while decreasing social protections. Sex work and stripping are not the get-rich fantasy, and they carry hidden costs. Stripper income and sex work are sometimes portrayed as easy money. The truth is complicated. Some dancers and sex workers make solid money, others barely scrape by, and the distribution is unequal and shaped by geography, client base, and the worker's ability to convert attention into stable earnings. Industry-level numbers show the business generates billions of dollars, but individual worker pay varies widely. Average reports for dancers often fall into middle to low five figures, and many workers do not enjoy steady incomes or benefits. Reported averages can be misleading because they hide the variance between a club's top earners and the majority who earn modestly. Beyond money, there's social fallout. Sex workers and adult creators face stigma that follows them outside the platform. Employers, family, and potential partners may judge or exclude them. That stigma limits long-term mobility and dating prospects in a culture that still privileges chastity or at least sexual modesty in ways that benefit men far more than women. The sexual empowerment myth. Here's what they don't tell you at the hot girl recruitment office: hypersexualization as a brand strategy has an expiration date, and it usually arrives right around the time you want something deeper than DM slides and appearance fees. The culture sells sexual liberation as power, but power over what exactly? The ability to attract men who see you as entertainment rather than wife material? The privilege of having your body critiqued by millions while your actual boundaries get consistently violated? Cardi B herself admitted in interviews that maintaining her sexy image while trying to save her marriage created an impossible dynamic. You can't build a foundation of respect while your profession requires you to be sexually available to the public imagination. The economics of exploitation. The secure the bag mentality promises financial freedom through sexual commodification, but the math rarely adds up. OnlyFans reality check. Top 1% of creators make 33% of all revenue. Average creator works 20 to 30 hours per week for below minimum wage. Platform provides zero benefits, job security, or career progression. Content lives forever on the internet, affecting future employment. Strip club statistics. Average dancer pays $100 to $200 in house fees per shift. Must tip out DJ, security, bartenders, often leaving with less than they started. No health insurance, retirement plans, or worker protections. Career longevity averages just 3 to 5 years. The real cost of the game. PTSD rates among sex workers range from 10 to 40%, compared to 3.5% in the general population. Anxiety disorders affect up to 60% of women in the industry. Strippers? The Bureau of Labor Statistics doesn't even track their income anymore because it's so inconsistent. Independent studies suggest average earnings between $20,000 to $75,000 annually, but that's before paying house fees, tip-outs, and dealing with no benefits, no sick days, no retirement. Men's real playbook. Here's the uncomfortable truth women are waking up to: men will absolutely sleep with women who lead with sexuality, but marriage? That's a different conversation. They'll DM the OnlyFans girl at 2 a.m. but take the teacher to meet mom. They'll throw money at strippers on Saturday but propose to the woman who made them wait on Sunday. The few men who do wife up women from this lifestyle often have ulterior motives, using their platform, accessing their money, or worse, getting off on the power dynamic of saving them. The happiness myth. Mental health statistics paint a stark picture. Among sex workers studied in 2024, 45% reported current depression. 33% had attempted suicide. 68% wanted to leave the industry but felt trapped. This isn't empowerment. It's survival mode dressed up as liberation. Why traditional femininity is having its revenge era. As the hot girl bubble bursts, a fascinating cultural shift is emerging. Young women are discovering what their grandmothers knew: selectivity increases value, mystery maintains interest, and emotional intelligence trumps sexual availability every time. The data supports this pivot. Married women report higher life satisfaction scores than single women across all age groups. Traditional marriages show 20% lower divorce rates than relationships begun through casual hookups. Women who delay sexual intimacy report higher relationship satisfaction and commitment levels. This isn't about prudishness or going backward, it's about recognizing that some strategies work because they align with human psychology, not Instagram algorithms. The Cardi B case study: when keeping it real goes wrong. Cardi's relationship timeline tells the whole story. 2017, secret marriage to Offset. 2018, cheating scandals surface, pregnancy announced. 2019, brief separation, public reconciliation. 2020, divorce filed, then withdrawn. 2023, another separation, more cheating allegations. 2024, still cycling through the same patterns. Here's a woman who can buy whatever she wants, command any stage, drop platinum albums, yet she's stuck in a toxic cycle with a man who repeatedly disrespects her. The sexual empowerment that built her empire can't buy her the one thing she actually wants: a faithful partner who sees her as irreplaceable. As if the Offset saga wasn't cautionary tale enough, 2025 has delivered the ultimate hot girl culture plot twist. While still legally married to Offset, Cardi B is now pregnant with NFL player Stefon Diggs' baby, a man who, according to industry whispers, has his own roster of expecting girlfriends across the country. Let that sink in. The Queen of WAP couldn't secure loyalty from her husband or her new boyfriend. She's literally creating life with a man who's allegedly running a pregnancy franchise while her divorce papers gather dust. This isn't just messy, it's a masterclass in how sexual liberation without strategic thinking creates generational chaos. The timeline reads like a soap opera written by someone who hates women. August 2024, files for divorce from Offset, again. September 2025, confirms pregnancy with Diggs. October 2025, Offset drops diss tracks calling her out for still giving birth while married. November 2025, making her WAG debut at Patriots games while Offset owes $2.3 million in taxes. Here's what makes this especially tragic. Cardi is parading around football stadiums in Bottega Veneta, playing house with a man who allegedly has multiple women in the same condition. She traded one community peen for another, except this time she's not even getting the ring first. The Stefon Diggs situation exposes the final lie of hot girl culture. These men don't even pretend to offer exclusivity anymore. Why would they? When you've proven you'll procreate with men who openly disrespect you, why would anyone treat you like wife material? This is what happens when you build your brand on being sexually available. You attract men who treat you exactly how you've marketed yourself, as one option among many. Diggs fixing her outfit for the cameras doesn't change the fact that he's allegedly got other women calling him baby daddy in group chats across America. The saddest part? Her children are watching their mother cycle through public humiliations, creating siblings with different fathers who can't even commit to being faithful during the pregnancy. This isn't liberation, it's generational trauma dressed up in designer clothes. The Megan Thee Stallion mirror. Megan's dating disasters follow a similar pattern. The woman who taught us about big ol' freak energy found herself shot by a romantic interest, Tory Lanez, who was also romantically involved with her former best friend Kelsey Harris. Publicly humiliated in a breakup with Partisan Fontaine. Dealing with leaked intimate content and revenge tactics. The hot girl brand attracts hot boy energy, men who want to conquer, not commit. Men who see her sexuality as public property because she marketed it that way. Megan Thee Stallion's dating history is a carousel of chaos. She dated rapper Moneybagg Yo, who later moved on and publicly flaunted his new relationships. She was in a long-term relationship with Partisan Fontaine, which ended in early 2023 after rumors of cheating and emotional distance. She was linked to Romelu Lukaku, Torrey Craig, and even rumored to be involved with Travis Kelce, none of which lasted. Now she's dating NBA star Klay Thompson, but the likelihood of this lasting is slim in my opinion. The Kim Kardashian paradox: billions can't buy a husband. If Cardi B and Megan are the soldiers of sexual commodification, Kim Kardashian is the five-star general. She literally built a billion-dollar empire on a 2007 sex tape with Ray J, and yet here she is at 44, on her fourth failed relationship, posting thirst traps while her exes move on with women half her age. Let's address the elephant that follows Kim everywhere. No matter how many schemes she sells or bar exams she passes, she'll always be the woman who got famous from that tape with Brandy's little brother. The public perception is brutal and permanent. Every business deal includes executives who've seen her naked. Every parent at her kid's school has access to her most intimate moments. Every man she dates knows millions have seen what he's getting. Ray J still gets checks from the tape. Imagine your ex profiting from your intimacy forever. Let's review the Kim K relationship graveyard. Marriage number 1, Damon Thomas, divorced, alleged abuse. Marriage number 2, Chris Humphries, 72 days, enough said. Marriage number 3, Kanye West, divorced, public meltdown, now married to a younger architect. Situationship number 4, Pete Davidson, 9 months, tattooed her name, still didn't stick. Here's what makes Kim the perfect case study. She has everything hot girl culture promises: the money, fame, business empire, surgically enhanced beauty. She's what every OnlyFans girl thinks she's building toward. And yet, her billionaire status couldn't keep Kanye faithful or sane. Her sex appeal couldn't make a 28-year-old comedian commit. Her empire couldn't buy her children a stable two-parent home. Her influence couldn't prevent being replaced by younger, less experienced women. The real tragedy? Once you've made yourself publicly consumable, you can never be private property again. Kim can date Pete Davidson, but Pete knows what Ray J knows, what Kanye knows, what millions of anonymous men know. Where's the mystery? How do you become someone's dream girl when you've been everyone's entertainment? Traditional women Kim's age have something she can never buy back: the ability to be discovered by one man. Their husbands feel like they won something exclusive. Kim's partners get what everyone's already seen, just with more expensive packaging. At 44, she's still playing the same game, posting bikini pics for validation while traditional women her age celebrate 20-year anniversaries. Even her children will grow up knowing their mother's fame came from being filmed in compromising positions. The Kardashian curse isn't about basketball players, it's about building an empire on public sexuality and wondering why no man wants to build a private life with you. Cultural whiplash: why women are mad at the message more than the messenger. There is a moment when admiration curdles into disillusionment. For years, mainstream culture has elevated a certain image of feminine power that looks like money, attention, and sexual freedom performed on a global stage. When icons who embody that image reveal the messy, precarious reality behind the veneer, many women feel betrayed, not because the performer lied but because the narrative they were sold finally fails them. That anger is what we are seeing now, a clash between aspirational fantasy and everyday truth about relationships, economics, and emotional cost. The pattern is simple and blunt: when desirability is a commodity, people trade it like a commodity. That commodification can leave the women performing it exposed to humiliation, betrayal, and relationship instability rather than the fairy tale ending many hoped the image would deliver. Men, power, and the disposable model of desire. At the core of the backlash is a simpler gender truth: men in cultures that fetishize conquest will often treat performers of sexuality as someone to win, display, and move on from. Marriage and long-term commitment are not guaranteed rewards for sexual labor. In environments where status accrues to those who collect attention, men may treat relationships as trophies rather than partnerships. That leaves the performers and the women who modeled their aspirations on them feeling used. This is not a moral sermon about choices. It is a matter of incentives and social patterns. The incentives men and platforms create favor short-term gratification over long-term commitment. That mismatch produces predictable outcomes: heartbreak, betrayal, and emotional fallout that look nothing like the glossy music video closing credits. The traditional feminine comeback strategy. Smart women are watching these celebrity cautionary tales and adjusting their approach. The new traditional femininity isn't about submission, it's about strategy. Selectivity over availability, making men invest time, effort, and commitment before access. This isn't game playing, it's recognizing that humans value what they work for. Emotional intelligence over sexual performance, understanding that lasting attraction is built on connection, shared values, and mutual respect, not acrobatic abilities that any young woman can replicate. Mystery over exposure, maintaining intrigue by not broadcasting every aspect of your life and body. What's rare is valuable, what's everywhere is disposable. Standards over settling, refusing to accept disrespect, infidelity, or lukewarm commitment just to say you have a man. Better alone than poorly accompanied. The pretty privileged principles. The women winning at love aren't the ones twerking on yachts, they're the ones who understand that femininity is a superpower when wielded with intelligence. Beauty with boundaries: look amazing, carry yourself with elegance, but make it clear your appearance is for your pleasure first, a worthy partner second, and the public never. Soft power strategy, influence through inspiration, not desperation. The women men marry are the ones they have to level up to deserve. Financial femininity, build your own wealth quietly. The loudest about their money are usually the most insecure about keeping it. Spiritual standards, whatever your faith, having non-negotiable values creates a filtering system that toxic men can't penetrate. The reckoning, what happens when hot girl summer ends? Here's what the culture won't admit: every hot girl summer eventually becomes a cold, lonely winter. The same women hashtagging #citygirls at 25 are Googling how to find a good man at 35. The OnlyFans accounts that promised freedom become digital shackles when you're trying to get hired at a real company or date a man who respects you. Meanwhile, Cardi and Meghan continue their public relationship disasters, providing real-time evidence that sexual liberation without strategic thinking leads to romantic poverty. They have everything except what they actually want: genuine love from men who see them as wives, not entertainment. The post-city girl panic, when hot girls go hardware store hunting. The latest chapter in hot girl culture's demise is playing out in the lumber aisles of Home Depot. Yes, you read that right, women who spent their 20s being for the streets are now literally in the home improvement streets, making TikToks about hunting for husbands between the power tools and paint samples. The trend is as desperate as it sounds: dolled-up women pretending to need help finding screws. The irony writes itself, while scoping out contractors for wedding ring potential. They've gone from "I don't need a man" to which aisle has the men who can actually build something? The timeline of regret. Here's how the city girl to Home Depot pipeline typically flows. Ages 22 to 27, men ain't shit, secure the bag, hot girl summer, I'm too pretty to settle. Ages 28 to 32, where are all the good men? Why does everyone only want hookups? Ages 33 plus, downloads Home Depot store locator, maybe I'll find a real man in aisle 12. The TikToks are comedy gold and tragedy combined. Women filming themselves in full glam, push-up bras under tank tops, circling the plumbing section like predators. The comments sections are brutal reality checks. Sis, these men can see your desperation from the parking lot. You rejected blue-collar men for years, now you want a contractor? He's calculating your body count while you're calculating his income. Why traditional men don't want city girls. Here's the truth bomb the Home Depot hunters haven't figured out: the very men they're hunting have watched their city girl TikToks. The electrician making $150,000 saw your hot girl summer highlights. The contractor who owns his business remembers when you said blue-collar men were dusty. These men want wives who respected them before desperation hit. Value building over destroying. Understand that a man who works with his hands needs peace at home. Haven't been community property for a decade. The tragic comedy is watching women who celebrated being 304s now trying to convince a man who builds foundations for a living that they'd make a stable foundation for his life. Meanwhile, the women who focused on traditional femininity in their 20s? They're in their custom-built homes with those same contractors, watching these TikToks as cautionary tales for their daughters. The pretty privileged woman would never be caught dead husband hunting in Home Depot because she attracted her builder when she was still worth building with, not after years of letting community developers run through her property. The fantasy crumbles, hoes aren't winning long-term. Let's be blunt. The hoes are winning narrative was never built on long-term outcomes, it was built on short-term attention, money, and clout. But when it comes to relationships, the data doesn't lie. Men don't marry women they don't respect. Studies show that men are less likely to commit to women they perceive as promiscuous or emotionally unavailable. Even when they do marry, the outcomes are shaky. Cardi B and Offset's relationship has been a public roller coaster of cheating scandals, breakups, and reconciliations. Meg's own romantic history includes public heartbreak and betrayal. Sexual liberation doesn't equal emotional fulfillment. Many women who embraced hookup culture report higher levels of anxiety, depression, and dissatisfaction in their romantic lives. A 2023 Pew Research study found that men are significantly more likely to seek long-term partners who exhibit loyalty, modesty, and emotional stability, not women who broadcast their bodies and bedroom stats online. A 2024 Relationship Trends report showed that women with high partner counts were 40% less likely to be chosen for serious relationships by men in their 30s and 40s. Even in marriages, the baddie aesthetic doesn't guarantee respect. Many of these women end up cheated on, emotionally neglected, or used as trophies. The ultimate finesse, when hot girls become walking ATMs. Here's the plot twist: hot girl culture doesn't advertise. The same women bragging about securing bags are actually opening theirs for unemployed boyfriends. The statistics expose the scam. 16% of wives now out-earn their husbands, and in marriages where women are the primary breadwinners, they're essentially funding their man's lifestyle while still doing the majority of housework and childcare. The contemporary landscape of female rap presents a fascinating paradox where public personas of financial dominance clash dramatically with private realities. Social media feeds overflow with declarations of securing the bag and using men as walking ATMs, yet industry insiders whisper about a different truth: these same women quietly funding their partners' lifestyles, from studio time to designer fits. This performance of financial exploitation becomes its own prison, where maintaining the illusion of being spoiled requires actually becoming the sponsor, all while hashtagging #HePayMyBills. The boss bitch narrative sells records and garners likes, but behind closed doors, many find themselves trapped in a cycle of financing relationships to maintain an image of being financed. The irony cuts deep. In trying to project power through claims of financial manipulation, these women often end up financially manipulated themselves, paying for the very men they claim to be using. Let's examine the receipts. The Cardi B cash flow reversal. While Cardi raps about money moves, her actual money is moving straight to Offset's pockets. Despite her net worth dwarfing his, recent court documents reveal the ultimate irony: Offset filed for spousal support from Cardi in their 2025 divorce proceedings. Yes, you read that right. The man who owes $2.3 million in tax liens wants his wife to maintain his bad and bougie lifestyle post-divorce. But wait, it gets worse. Cardi exposed on X Spaces that she's been single-handedly financing their children's lavish lifestyle. $45,000 per month for their kids' expenses. Private school tuition, nannies, security, activities. A whole year straight, you have left me with the kids' bills. The woman who taught us to make money moves is literally moving money into her deadbeat husband's accounts while he drops diss tracks about her. The Nicki Minaj management scandal. Nicki Minaj's situation reads like a masterclass in reverse sugar babying. Court documents from 2025 reveal her husband Kenneth Petty listed his occupation as her manager, security, and nanny. Translation: she's paying him to exist. Here's a registered sex offender with no legitimate career being bankrolled by one of rap's richest women. She's literally paying a man to be her husband. The cultural shift, from hot girl to soft girl. Women are waking up. The pendulum is swinging from hyper-independence to intentional femininity, from hookup culture to high-value relationships. The rise of the soft girl era is proof that women are craving stability, respect, and emotional safety, not just attention and cash. Traditional values are making a comeback. More women are embracing modesty, faith, and femininity as tools of empowerment, not oppression. Marriage-minded dating is rising. Apps and communities focused on serious relationships are gaining traction, while hookup apps are losing steam. The soft girl era is a rebrand, not a revolution. What's happening now is a cultural pivot. Women are realizing that the hot girl lifestyle is cute for a season, but it doesn't build legacy, family, or peace. Enter the soft girl era, a return to femininity, faith, and intentionality. But here's the kicker: the same women who told you to finesse him for a bag are now crying in the studio about wanting love. And women are mad because they feel duped. They followed the blueprint, only to realize it was a trap. The men they wanted to attract with sex appeal were never looking for wives, they were looking for a good time. Women are not mad solely because a song or video portrays sexual autonomy, they are mad because the cultural conversation around that autonomy has been dishonest about the costs. They are mad at the system that glamorizes certain paths while hiding the trade-offs. They are mad at a marketplace that celebrates winners but obscures the base rate of loss. Men and women still face gendered double standards about sexual behavior. Women who lean into public sexual agency often earn social scorn and dating penalties that men do not face. Recent polling shows more single women than single men say they are strictly looking for a committed relationship. That means women who publicly broadcast casual sexual freedom and treat romantic history as performance might find themselves mismatched against their own long-term goals or judged by potential partners. The final truth. The women who are angry aren't calling for moral panic. They're calling for honesty. Freedom doesn't mean avoiding consequences, it means making choices with knowledge and options. If your plan for independence is be visible, be sexual, go viral, understand the math, a tiny percentage will cash out but most will face stigma. We should want better role models and better economics. We should teach young women to find dignity and power beyond a headline, a like, or a one-night flex. Sexual agency doesn't equal failure. But when the big promise of sexual liberation is you'll be cared for, admired, and wealthy, and the reality is often inconsistency, stigma, and heartbreak for many, being mad is the first honest response. The traditional femininity resurgence isn't about going backward, it's about going smarter. It's recognizing that our grandmothers' strategies worked not because they were oppressed, but because they understood something we forgot: sex is powerful, which is exactly why it shouldn't be given away like free samples at Costco. The women building legacies are the ones who understand that mystery, standards, and selectivity aren't outdated concepts, they're timeless strategies that create the outcomes hot girl culture only pretends to deliver. Sexual empowerment? Sure. But power is knowing when to use it, not spraying it everywhere like cheap perfume. The choice is yours: be another casualty of hot girl culture, or be the woman who understood the game well enough to win it. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the hot girl illusion. I hope this exploration of the gap between fantasy and reality has sparked some thoughts and reflections. Remember, it's essential to critically evaluate the narratives we consume and the lifestyles we aspire to. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Let's keep the conversation going, and until next time, stay thoughtful and empowered. Take care. What do you think? Is the hot girl lifestyle an illusion? Let me know in the comments section. Stay bougie. Follow and support me. All links in bio. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check description for more info. New episodes every day.